In my experience, religious people are the most toxic people. They are full of shit. They cover up their shitty attitude with Christianity, with religion. Oh my God, I'm so pious, I'm so holy, but they are full of shit. If I hire you to come and work and you leave my work and you go and pray, you are fired because you are mad. When we start seeing our workplace as more than where we just go to take salary at the end of the month, you realize that people are just working for assholes and nonsense people. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ejoma, aka Sincerely IJ, aka IJ, aka Black, aka whatever you want to call me is fine by me. So if this is your first time stopping by, thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this video, share with your friends, leave your comment. If you are a returning subscriber, listen, there's a special place in heaven for you. I'm so grateful. But if you are here and you keep watching my videos, my content without subscribing, like, kilo de gun, what exactly is the matter? Because you're stealing from me. Because why are you watching, enjoying content you have not subscribed to? It's not good. Change your life. Fear God. So let's get into today's video. If you're ready, I am ready. Let's go. So let's talk about toxic workplaces. I mean, I feel like this is an area people don't talk about at all. People hardly talk about this, and I don't know why. The reason why I decided to talk about this is oftentimes when people are depressed or they are going through mental health related problems, they often link it to maybe they are broke, or maybe they are going through relationship problems or other things, but they rarely talk about maybe how toxic their workplace could be. And I'm not saying that it's always the case that people are depressed because of their workplace, but I feel like it's also a contributing factor. And yeah, that's why I'm here to talk about it. So your workplace could be toxic and you would not know. You would think is the norm, especially here in Africa. I mean, I've gone through it. Well, I wasn't depressed. I got out of it because my pride is too much. I cannot take nonsense. I just want to share with you guys some signs and tips to know if you are working in a very toxic place. You probably don't know that it's toxic, but you are going through hell. I'm your girl. I'm here to tell you every sign to look out for. So, number one, if you enter into a workspace and your boss or your madam insists though that you have to call them sir or madam. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with calling your superior or sir or madam, but sometimes, like, you know what I'm talking about? It's the, how do I say it? It's like, it's this kind of insisting that you have to call them sir. Most of the time, that's a sign. And I'm not saying it applies to everybody and it's in all cases, but most of the time, you have to know that you are heading towards a toxic journey. Yes, that is the first point, because what is there? Like, I find, okay, so in my experiences, all the places I've worked in where I refer to my boss as sir, madam, they are always toxic, because there's this kind of rigid environment where people do not freely express themselves. I don't know whether it's got to do with the fact that you're calling them sir or madam, but the fact that they insist, it has already built a wall. Like, there's already a wall. And I don't know if it's because I'm a creative person, because in creativity, like, for example, where I work right now, I don't call my boss sir. I just call him by his name, Eddie. And he even insists that we should call him by his name. Call me Eddie. You know, call me Emma, call me George. Why do I have to say sir, madam? Because the minute your boss insists that I should call them sir or madam, there's already that wall. Like that, there's a wall in between, and you can't freely talk to them. Now, there's a difference between respect and what's the word I'm looking for? There's a difference between respect and fear. Yes, because if your boss is insisting that you call them sir or madam, already they have put in your head that, okay, you can't freely talk to them about certain things, which would at the end of the day move the company forward. So yeah, that vibe is already off, and I don't fuck with that. Yeah, sorry. That is a sign for me that your company, oh my goodness, nah fam, I ain't do that. Because if you're going to be working with your boss directly, like, you know, it's different if this is the CEO of the company where you don't work with directly. Like, for example, in my company, as CEO, I don't directly work with my CEO. So that's if I'm calling my CEO sir, it's understandable. But somebody that I work with every day, like, we should have a rapport. Do you understand? That's just me. I don't know about you. It's my experience. I beg, don't come and beat me. In my experience, in the line of work I am in, the people I've called sir, madam, like the bosses I've worked with, where they insist that I call them sir or madam, it never turns out good. It's always full of toxicity, and I'm not ready for that. So the second point is a very funny point, because I feel like this has got to be the highest level of unseriousness. If you are working in a space where instead of them to be working, they spend hours praying. Like, you come to work in the morning and they insist that you have to pray, like you have to do some form of morning devotion before you start work, and the morning devotion time eats into working hours. My goodness, that is a sign of a toxic workspace. And I'm not trying to put down anybody's religion. Listen, I'm a Christian and I believe in God. I strongly believe that the workplace is not where you come and spend hours praying. Even the Bible says, Jesus said, give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. I don't expect that if I am running a company, the time that my workers will be using to work, they'll be using it to pray. Like, most of the time, I find it very funny. And religious people, when you're working with religious people who seem to think that, oh, they are so close to God, they are so perfect, they are full of shit. People who spend time praying instead of working, they are full of shit. Because if you're a good Christian, you should know that when you wake up in the morning in your house, spend time, quiet time, doing your prayers. Listen, this channel, I talk about faith. I am a strong believer in prayer. I love God. Oh my goodness, I am a fan. Like, you have no idea. Me and God, we are tight. But it does not make sense that you come to work and you are praying instead of, like, your boss is insisting that, oh, let's do morning devotion every morning at 8 a.m. That's working hours. Like, bro, I don't fuck with that. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be blunt and say it as it is. Because in my experience, religious people are the most toxic people. They are full of shit. They think they are full of shit, but how do I say? They cover up their shitty attitude with Christianity, with religion. Oh my God, I'm so pious, I'm so holy, but they are full of shit. If you're working with a boss who wears their religion on their sleeve, you are in for nonsense, because you are going to chop shit. You go chop shit tire. Because they never justify anything. Like, they never reason, like, they are never objective. Instead of them to be looking at an idea or a situation objectively, they are always in their feelings and I'm not doing that. Like, religious people at work, toxic, red flag. I don't want to work with people who 247. Listen, it's totally different from, you know, when the Bible says you are the light of the world. So which means when you are in places, you have to show that you are a Christian, because people will look at you to give their lives to God and all that, yada yada. I get it and I'm in for it. But you know what I'm talking. If you're watching this video, I want to believe that your understanding is, you know, so you understand what I'm trying to say. People who would waste time, I'll call it waste time with my chest, praying at work instead of doing what should be what they are expected of, what they are paid to do, is a form of stupidity. I'm sorry. I remember there was a time TV3 covered a story on Achimota Forest. Now, Achimota Forest is a popular place in Accra, Ghana, where people go to pray. And they went to do a story there. Working hours, people left their workplace to go and pray. Like, I don't understand. If I hire you to come and work and you leave my work and you go and pray, you are fired because you are mad. You think you're the only one who loves God? I remember when I used to run a business, I had a shop, so I employed this girl. She's a Muslim, to come and sell in my shop. This girl, you know, Muslims pray 5 times a day, and I respect that. Like, some of my closest friends are Muslims. I love them to bits, but I'm going to say as it is. When customers are trying to come in, she has locked the door and she's praying. Like, what the fuck? I don't think there's any sense in it, and I don't think God is going to sit in heaven applaud you like, oh, my diligent child, oh, you are so faithful, and blah blah blah. The Bible says there is time for everything. God in his wisdom said that there is time for everything. So why would you allocate working hours when you should be productive at work? You are praying. Are you mad? That does not move me. You are just stupid. Another toxic sign you should look out for in your workplace is if your ideas are not taken seriously. Now, this is such a huge one. This is super important. As an individual, if you present ideas to your bosses or your colleagues or whoever is in charge, maybe you guys are doing a project and you present ideas and they are not taken seriously, that is a sign that you are working in a toxic environment. Because if your ideas are not taken seriously, bro, it's going to, at the end of the day, affect you as an individual. It's going to stifle your growth, because the whole point of working in a workplace is for you to also grow. If you're working somewhere and at the end of 2 years, 3 years, you have not grown in any way, intellectually, creatively, creatively and all that, your work is stifling you, and it's time for you to bounce. Your growth as an individual is super important, because you are putting in work every day, trying to be productive for the company. What is the company also doing for you? It shouldn't be that you're always giving your input and everything. Your company also has to give you something. It's not, and I know some people will be like, oh, but they pay your salary at the end of the month. That is the primary thing they are supposed to do. It's not a favor. You have to be in a place where your ideas are taken seriously. Even if they are not good enough, at least they should be considered. And if it does not work for the project you are working on at the time, there's a way your colleagues or your boss can tell you that, oh, I think it's a very good idea, blah blah blah, but these are where it's flawed, this and this. You talk about it, and maybe it's true that you can develop an even better idea. That's how you grow as an individual. You don't want to spend years working in a company, 5 years, because I've seen people work in a place 5 years, 10 years, and they come out of it and there is nothing, absolutely nothing to show that they worked in the place, because they are dumb as fuck. Nah, that is a toxic place to live, to work, and you need to bounce. When we start seeing our workplace as more than where we just go to take salary at the end of the month, you realize that people are just working for assholes and nonsense people. This next point is also a very important. In fact, all the points I've mentioned are so important, but this one is important. It's important. So if you're working in a place where you're always gaslighted, you're in a toxic workplace. Now, what is the meaning of gaslighting? Now, gaslighting is when somebody manipulates you into doubting who you are, like doubting your own perception, doubting your values or your beliefs. And this does not just apply to workplace, it also applies to friendships. And I always say that you are doing yourself a disservice if you are entertaining people who are always gaslighting you. I don't care how long you've known them, throw them away. They are rubbish. For example, somebody does something to hurt you, your feelings, and you go to this person, you tell them that, listen, I don't like the way you made me feel about this and that and that. You are entitled to feel how you want to feel. It is your feelings. You cannot tell your feelings to feel something else. How you feel is how you feel, and it is valid. If you tell somebody that, oh, I don't like the way maybe you spoke to me during this meeting in a certain way I didn't like, that's how you feel. When they start to make you feel like you are crazy, like, hey, so this thing to you are angry, that's like bullshit. That is the highest form of insult anybody can take, and I don't think anybody should take it. That's straight up gaslighting, and those people are exhibiting signs of narcissism, because Yeah, that's a very narcissistic behavior. These people feel like they are superior and your feelings don't mean shit to them. Like, they don't even care how you feel. Gaslighting is so serious. If you are my friend, you are in my life, and you gaslight me, I'm done with you, because you can't make me feel crazy. It's just like you're dating a guy who is always making you feel some type of way. Maybe he's talking to a certain girl, you don't like how they are vibing, and you go to tell him that, babe, I really don't want to be like that girlfriend who nags and everything, but I'm not comfortable with the way you are entertaining this girl. And instead of him to address it, he's making light of it and making it look like you are the crazy one, like this is nothing, like why are you overthinking this? That is gaslighting, and you don't want to be in such a workspace. Like, it would not, listen, you will cry, you always not be happy, you will feel like you realize that you start to doubt your own feelings. You start to think that or is it that I'm doing too much? Or they can be like, oh, I'm sorry I made you feel that way, I didn't think that you are going to feel this way. I was doing this out of this place, I was doing it out of a place of this, or maybe out of a place of ignorance or something. Yes, that's better than saying, hey, then that's how you feel. Oh, like you are you vibing with me? Like, are you tracking with me? That's exactly what I'm saying. Nobody should have to go through that in workplaces, in relationships, in marriages, in friendship, whatever. Nobody should have to go through gaslighting. It is a terrible thing. It will make you sick to your stomach. You start to act crazy. Another sign of a toxic workplace is, for example, if you are hired as an executive assistant to the CEO, or maybe to anybody, you are like an executive assistant. Your work as an executive assistant is work like office related. Everything that has to do with you being an assistant is, maybe, for example, taking minutes at meetings, running official duties, like those kind of things. But when your boss now feels the nerve, the audacity to now make you a personal assistant, that is a sign of a toxic boss in a toxic workplace. Because first of all, your role is an executive assistant, not a personal assistant. Because I've seen people whose bosses will be sending them to go and pick their children up from school. Hey, Tori alone. Like, go and pick my child up from school. I mean, there's nothing wrong with offering help, like personal assistance once a while, or maybe if your boss needs help, like, oh, I'm sorry, like, it all depends on how they will say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going out of my way, but I really need a favor from you. Can you please, like, pick up my child from school? I'm stuck in the office, like something like that. That's understandable. But when they begin to feel entitled, like, because I am paying you salary, you are my executive assistant, so if I say go to the market and go and buy foodstuffs and take it to my house, you have to. Hey, people are chopping shit. Oh, people are chopping shit, because it can never be me. An executive assistant, your work is in the office, and office duty. Personal errands is a no. Because honestly, I've heard stories where bosses will send executive assistants to go to the market and go and buy foodstuffs and take it to their house to go and cook, prepare banku. Hey God, now wow, because they are paying you salary, and you too, it's not your fault now, because there's no job in the system. It's not your fault. If this economy was good, sure, you'll be doing this nonsense. Because there's no job in the system, so you are afraid. You also settle and go and do it because you're afraid that they'll sack you. But it's not fair. Like I said, if they like genuinely need help, and you see that they need help, and they'll even come to you, oh, please, I'm really sorry that I have to do this, but please, can you? That's totally different. But when they begin to feel entitled, like, go to my house and go and do this, take my car and go and wash my car, and you two, you now get up and you be going. Advise yourself, because that's how it starts. So it will start small. The next thing, your boss will tell you that, oh, go and put this money in my bedroom. They'll send you to the bedroom. The next thing, they'll come and tell you that I cannot find my jewelry. You were the last person that entered into my room. Where is my jewelry? You are now thief. So please advise yourself. Thank you. Another sign of a toxic workplace is when your colleagues, people in the office, start forming cliques. cliques are, you know, like growing up in secondary school, primary school, we all have friends, you know, squads, friends, like a group of friends where we are comfortable to eat with, to like do stuff with. Like when it's break time, we roll with them, like they are squad. That is for secondary school. That is for primary school. You cannot be bringing that to your office workplace. Now, granted that even in the office there are people that you are more drawn to, like you are definitely closer to certain people than other people. That is fair, that is understandable, like it is normal, it is not fight. But when it becomes something else, like because I am friends with this person, because this is my clique, nobody else can enter inside this clique. So when an opportunity comes in the office and you know that this other person deserves to be given this opportunity, you bypass the person because they are not in your clique. Hey, she are not mad. Like, is it no sign of madness? There's nothing wrong with being close to some group of people in the office, but it should just be that. It should just be for recreational purposes, you know, the normal things. Oh, let's go and eat together, let's vibe together. Oh, maybe on the weekends, let's hang out here. That's okay. But when it has to do with opportunities, important things that can actually help other colleagues grow, and you think that because this person is not in my clique, the person does not deserve to be given this role. When you know these cliques are formed and you are excluded, you start to feel like you're not enough. You start to feel like is it that I don't really deserve it? Then you start to feel depressed, and like you dread going to work. Like when it's time for you to go to work, you dread it. But when it's time for you to close, oh my God, you're happy, because what they do is that now they are not talking to you in the office because they are in some form of clique. And like, nah, personally, I wouldn't want to work there. I would want to get out. And this is a bonus point. If you're working in a place where you've been working there for so long and they are not increasing your salary, like you're doing a good job, it's obvious that the company is making money, like they are making real money, you are contributing to like the work and everything, and you maybe been working there for 5 years, 6 years, and they've never increased your salary, get out. You are working in a very toxic environment. So I hope I made sense in this video. If you have other points you'd like to share with me, kindly leave it in the comment section. There are so many, like there are a lot. People's experiences differ. I mean, my experiences, these are some of the experiences I have been through. It would differ from other people's toxic experiences, and I get that. But this is my YouTube channel. If you don't agree with me, YouTube is free. Oh, YouTube is free. They don't used to collect money. It's free. Open your own YouTube channel, say your own points. Simple. So I've come to the end of this video. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, spread the word. Let's get people out of toxic workplaces, because there is nothing more depressing than having to wake up every morning to go to a job you hate because of people, not because you actually hate the job. You understand? Maybe you actually love the job, but the people, your bosses, your colleagues, they're not making it easy for you. Like, that is very daunting, and I don't wish that for anybody. Nobody should have to go through that. I don't even wish that for my enemy. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Till then, be good. Bye. Mwah.